we're looking at here is I have a stock length control arm. This is the passenger side actually. I have it set up with the tie rod, the tension control rod, where it's supposed to be. Now I have a very close fitting rod over here, polished rod. It's actually part of a old strut. Anyway, it fits quite closely. There's very little wiggle, even all the way out here, 1.5 feet from where it's pivoting. It doesn't move 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so it's certainly close enough for demonstration purposes. So as you can see, where this, then this is just a socket showing where the extension of that rod would be, because I don't have a rod long enough, and I really don't feel like machining down one of my plastic rods or another piece of steel or anything just for the demo. Anyway, so it gives you an idea where the rod would be if it was this long. So anyway, you can kind of extrapolate out the point there, which would be right about here, which is pretty much right where the center of the pivot point would be. So let me bring that out there. I think actually it comes around here roughly, but if I take that out, that's going to be right about there. And if I run it through, that's realistically all of the suspension travel this thing's going to have. You know, somewhere in the 5-6 inch range. Okay, so you can see that point hardly moves in space there, and so that's what's happening, is the pivot point for the bushings here lines up with down here. Now this is true for the truck that this arm came off of, the 720 or the hard body. Then let me change it up just a little bit here, and I'll show you how the 521 is set up. Okay, so now I'm not factoring in the 1/8 or so that it's been channeled out up further on the arm here or whatever. I'm not sure if that even yeah, it's up from there. That doesn't even show up. Anyway, I've re-angled this to the same angle that it is on the frame, test frame right now. The only other thing it would do is it would bring this down 1 1/8, which is still going to be at least 2 inches above this pivot point. So let's just say this is slightly exaggerated to because that difference isn't there. The whole point is that this point of rotation here does not match the lower control arm pivot point, and that's our whole problem. If this arm extended all the way out and this, you know, to somewhere out in space over here, it would work. But if you watch as I run it through the same 5 or 6 inches of travel, instead of rotating around a point, it's going through an arc. Okay, and I really need it to rotate around a point here, which is way the heck out here. If my hand even shows up in the video there. So anyway, you can see that. Let's see here. So somewhere, yeah, you can see, you know, we're getting a good 1.5 inches of arc. Now, if this tries to sit in one spot, what that's going to do is that's going to put a twist on the mount, the tension control rod, the lower control arm bushing, and the body of the control arm. And I don't really want to do that. The best thing to do would be to mount the tension control rod in such a way that on the shortened arm, this point here matches up with the lower control arm pivot. When that happens, basically the mount on the frame, it will need a new mount fabricated, which isn't out of the question. That can be done. It's just not something that's going to be done necessarily for another user. I will probably do that on my own rig, but for kit form or resale or anything like that, yeah, I'm not quite sure yet if that's what's going to happen. So